Welcome back, everybody. Mr. Reneker here once again, and this is the third part, or third video for our first lesson of this week. So again, we'll try to keep it as brief as possible in that light. So today, our objectives are going to be to use this quotient of powers property, whatever that means, to simplify expressions. So let's go ahead and start to look at that key idea. So the quotient of powers property looks like this. It says to divide powers with the same base. This time we're going to subtract the exponents. And that should make a fair amount of sense from our last section about the product of powers, where we started by um, adding some exponents together. Of course, the inverse operation would cause an inverse effect. So in our first example here, we see if we had 4 to the 5th power divided by 4 squared, we would take that 5 minus the 2, see it here, and 5 minus 2 gives us 3, so you would be able to simplify that by saying that we would have 4 to the 3rd power. Let's look at some examples. So similar to what we saw a moment ago, we've got powers with the same base. We're going to use this new property to go ahead and simplify them. Since we are dividing with the same base here in part A, we would go ahead and say we've got 2 to the 6th power divided by 2 to the 4th, which means we can simply do 2 to the 6th minus 4th power. 6 minus 4 is 2, so we would end up with 2 squared. Again, in these first examples, you're going to want to leave things written as a power. In part B, I use the same idea. Since we are dividing with the same base, we'd have a negative 7. Make sure you keep that in parentheses. To the 9 minus a 3rd power. 9 minus 3, of course, gives us 6, so we end up with negative 7 to the 6th power. I do have a couple of early problems to try on your own if you'd like to take a few moments to do that. Check out these 3 problems. This is on your own. We're just going to simplify them, leave them as a power, as it says here. Go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to try these on your own, and in about 3 more seconds, you'll get your solutions. And here you are. You'd have 9 to the 3rd power. For number 2, you should have just 4.2. If you ended up with 4.2 to the 1st power, remember that anything to the 1st power is itself, so you can actually leave that exponent of 1 off. Number 3 was negative 8 to the 4th power. And finally, number 4 was x to the 5th power. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to look at simplifying expressions that are just slightly more involved. So you can see here that when simplifying, it says simplify 3 to the 4th power times 3 squared, all divided by 3 cubed, or to the 3rd power. Now, in this scenario, we've got more than one set of our properties happening, because you'll notice here in the numerator that we have an entire expression. That means that we're going to have to simplify that part first. Now, that's actually, again, a product. We're multiplying things, meaning we're going to have to use a product of powers. So we're actually going to be, like I said, mixing things from the last lesson and this one together. Now, 3 to the 4th times 3 squared would require us to add the exponents. And 4 plus 2, of course, gives us 6. So we have 3 to the 6th power. All of that would still be divided by 3 to the 3rd power. But now we're only left with a quotient. So now we can use our quotient of powers property, which is to subtract the exponents. So it would be 3 to the 6th minus 3rd power, which of course is just 3 to the 3rd power. So be prepared again to mix in some of our newest properties that we've learned about, all in the effort of simplifying expressions. And if you're at all ever confused about some, which you'll get to try on your own in a moment, I'm really going to encourage you guys to focus on the order of operations and how, on one hand, it's very regimented and very specific, and how, on the other hand, sometimes that order offers a little bit of flexibility. Now, keep that in mind, and I'll let you work on a couple on your own here next. So here you've got 3 problems for you to try. You'll notice that each one of these involves both quotients and products, so you're going to have to mix and match the properties a bit. But again, keep in mind the order of operations and how it can benefit you. Go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to try these on your own, and we will check for your understanding in just a few more moments. So here you are. Number 5 should be 2 to the 7th power. Number 6 was d to the 5th power. And lastly, number 7 was 5 to the 8th power. Again, if you have any confusion or any issues with these at all, please reach out to me so I can help fill in those gaps. Otherwise, I think we have everything covered. We have used the quotient of powers property to simplify expressions and even seen how to mix it in with some product of powers properties to help you guys out. Again, email me if you have any questions. And as always, I'll see you next time.